Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Saturday morning live. And I am your co-host, Piggy. And over here we have.
Mighty Max Toys joining you from a overcast California that is celebrating a lot of veteran related events. So we're not going to be live for Veterans Day, but we salute you all for your service. Now, moving on. Can I just
Yes.
say uh, in the words of the immortal David Hasselhoff, this podcast right now is a mess because after the X-Men special, I woke up this morning and I said, "Oh my god, I don't know anything that's happening right now. I have no idea what's going on." So it took me a little bit to just kind of get back in the groove of things. So I was just like, "All right, cool. I got a brand new shirt with the King of Red Lions on. I got my on. So we're gonna go ahead and do our best." What's
And
up
before
about
we
you?
even, I'm doing pretty good, but I do want to have say like an apology. This is my apology video to all of you guys. We were misled. We were the blind leading the blind. We literally dressed up and celebrated last week that it was a finale of X-Men. But when you think the X-Men are dead, they're not. So we had a part three to the finale
I
this week.
Dude, I was not ready for it. Honestly, when people were on the internet were saying, "Oh man, okay, so part three," and I'm like, "Part three? I thought it was done." And they were like, "Oh
Me
yeah,
too.
like this last episode." And I started looking at little screenshots here and there, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I don't remember this. What?"
I know. So that was me throughout the week too. I was like, wait, what's going on? I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, that's okay. We're here. We're
That's
apologizing. We are going to cover other topics today, but we do have the final episode. I don't think I changed the title slide for the spoilers in it,
no.
but that's okay. We'll give you the true trigger warnings for this episodes as well, even if they don't match the language in the slide.
But you know what? I was actually kind of pumped too because it was kind of cool to find out, like, oh man, it's not over yet. Like, yes, it was kind of nice to have that little surprise. There's one more new episode. Yes, that's awesome. And
Yeah,
that,
like it felt really good. It felt like, when you're a kid and you're used to just watching the repeat episodes, like they're going through a cycle again of all the episodes, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, now it's gonna restart. And they're like, oh no, there's one more episode. You're like, wait,
that's
what?
exactly what I was going to bring up too, because that's exactly how I felt. I was just like, oh, we get something new. And
Yeah.
what a new episode it was. It definitely tied everything up really nicely. It told you exactly where they were going to go, which is it's a really much a better ending than where we ended last week.
Yeah, honestly, it did because I was like, if this is the ending from last week, then it's kind of like a kind of lame ending. I'm
Yeah,
sad,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
It's
Um,
very Attack on Titan because Attack on Titan famously finished in like the most epic of cliffhangers, and you're like, dude, seriously?
but this
So
is kept
I'm
us in
glad.
a. So we'll talk about the X Men when we get there. But
Yeah,
yeah, because I want to keep talking. I want to have I just want to tell you guys
yeah,
about it. But
yes.
I will stop.
But we do have a couple of toy related news, oh, lo and behold, to talk about today because there is a lot and we have to get back at it. I actually spoke to my mother in law yesterday and then I,
Ooh.
I was telling her, like, has a package arrived for me? And she's like, no, nothing's arrived for you. I'm like, yeah, it's been a long time since I sent something from Hasbro Pulse because typically they go to her house
Mhm.
just because they're bigger, right? So I don't want them to get stolen. Um, So she was like, "Well, you don't have to spend any more money if you don't want to. Like, just the fact that you haven't bought anything doesn't mean that you have to keep buying more stuff." And I'm like, "Okay,
You're like, that's good advice. I'm gonna go to the thrift store now.
I'm gonna go buy a shirt." Now, we do have, like I said, a few things happening. If you are, just recuperating from your true X Men finale, you can spend some time this weekend with Toy Mania 8. And again, it's happening like clockwork every month, right? So this time around is only one day, which makes it far
Oh.
less confusing. And the time is exactly from 11 to 6, making it far less confusing. So I feel like this time around, we're definitely going to have a much more cohesive event.
I think it was a challenge since it was growing. They were trying to get, okay, it's like we want the venue to be a little bit bigger. We also want the to accommodate to the guests
Mhm.
that are going to be signing things. So I understand why it was a little bit messy in the past, but I think now they're kind of getting the hang of it and it's all coming together really well.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that it's happening. Same place, same bad time, same bad hour. So make sure you guys go to Toys of the Universe in Torrance. The address is down there, 2020 the West Carson Street, Torrance, California, and say hello. Especially, and remember, it's going to be tomorrow on Sunday, not Saturday. If you come to Torrance right now, you're going to meet a lot of traffic because the Armed Forces Parade is happening, which means that there's going to be a lot of folks lining up to see tanks, to see uh different military vehicles parade around the city, which is kind of cool. I actually never been, and I live right here, and it passes literally on the other street from where I live. It's ridiculous. But anyways, moving on, we also have a galactic trade and swap. What's going on here? This looks
So we
cute.
have Coffee Toys yet again doing another event, and they've made this events more frequent. Nice. More frequently. And this is again, you buy blind boxes, you want to trade your toys, and they create a whole event around this. So there will be free pizza and raffle prizes throughout the day. So you just bring your blind box figures. They want to repeat. So let's say you got one, but it wasn't the one you wanted. Maybe someone in the store that shows up that day will be able to trade it with you. And they did have an RSVP for Eventbrite, so they could kind of see how much food to bring to the event. It is located in 7815 Melrose Avenue. I will not be making it this one, but I do want to go to the next one. I am going to buy a few because I want to buy more blind boxes. Remember, I got obsessed with the monsters
Yes.
and I still want more of them. And I've been looking for a place to buy them. I've gone to all the stores in Little Tokyo. They don't have them yet.
Oh,
But yeah, I've been looking.
I was
So
wondering why
I'm
you stopped.
because I don't want to pay for shipping every time I buy them. They're already $20. They're like 22. So I was like, okay, I want to find like my local dealer.
Yeah, it
And
makes a lot more sense.
I also saw that there's like this Pop Mart Teletubby collection that I
Uh-oh.
actually got a glimpse at when I went to Miniso this past week. And dude, those things are massive. They're like the size of my head big and heavy. And each box is $20 as well. So I might go to Kohi Toys the next event. I will for sure. I will just tell you this to myself. I will go for sure in the next event. And I will buy a Teletubby one if they have it. And if they have the monster, I'll go ahead and buy that as well. If they don't, I'll see what else they have. But I will do like a little video for you guys because I've been curious and I know I've been telling you guys. So I'm sure you guys are curious too.
Yeah, and that's a reminder, guys. Just follow us on our socials, Mighty Max Toys and at Porcelain and Piggy, because we do a lot of things, and sometimes we don't talk about it in the podcast proper. But that doesn't mean that we're not out there doing stuff. Follow us on Instagram and see all the little things that we're doing, because it's certainly a lot more than we show here sometimes. Like, for example, this. Now, oh my God, this thing! I remember this.
Okay.
This
All right.
this were this were already out in Europe,
Yes. Okay.
right?
So this really upsets me.
Uh huh.
This really upsets me because when I have given up that they were going to come to the States, I dropped some money. I dropped some money in some figures as a gift. And hey, Bambi Raptor, it's been a while. I'm glad you were able to make it today. So I was upset. I just dropped an uncomfortably amount of money on some things for my spouse because he likes them from this line. And believe me, I never thought that my husband could learn Sanrio characters' names, and he will recite them now because of this collab.
Oh no
Uh,
way!
yes, and I was surprised when we went shopping, and he's like, "Oh, that's my melody. That's cinnamon roll." I was like, "Who are you? Where did you get this information?" So I was
But
like, okay,
so
okay. So
you
I
bought.
went ahead and as soon as I dropped the cash, they announced it. So I was like, you know what? I've had terrible luck getting Happy Meal stuff when they get released. So, at least I secure what I wanted.
That's true. And you know what? I kind of half expected them to show up in the U.S. and was wondering why they showed up in Europe beforehand. Was kind of weird. I think like the V market for McDonald's is either in Japan with Makdo or here, not so much Europe, but apparently they
But
were a huge success over there, and now they're bringing them over. And we were just speaking with my wife when we were having breakfast that honestly we don't really go to McDonald's. Like we maybe go to McDonald's once or twice a year, right? Once for sure for the McRib, just because for the culture, right? And because honestly, I don't think you can eat McRibs every month without your body just getting sick. I think that's why they
yes.
limit it to only like the one time a year.
But
So
yeah, like,
we'll be very, very happy to go at least to get one. Now, which one do you like here?
for me, it would be Pom Pom Puri as Exodia.
Yes, that's the best one. That is the best one, 100%.
Yeah.
He looks so dumb.
It looks amazing. So they did a great job with this collab. My only complaint is that it's printed on fabric, so there's no 3D
Yes,
texture coming out of them. So my next goal will be oh, damn it! After Susan McGrave is a big pass for her.
I get it. I get it. It's an acquired taste. It's for refined
Yeah,
palates only.
it's not everybody's cup of tea,
It's
cup
for
of meat.
refined palates.
Yeah, well, one of the things about this was that there's like it's just a printed on. And so my next goal is if what I have bought lands well as a gift for my spouse, I'll go ahead and customize one based on which one's
Mhm.
his favorite with a real plush.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, this is my test.
Mm.
So I can then go ahead and customize one for him.
Because you know what, they do this already, right? With actual plush, giving them the clothes, giving them the clocks, the hoodies, and all that, and they look cool.
Mhm.
And this is just kind of it's a okay, kind of like a consolation prize, you know?
Yeah, it's a really lazy. It's a
Yeah,
very lazy collab when it comes to it because I'm like, guys, you could have literally remember the 2000s Hello Kitty. Okay, this just got me another rant. I'm putting a pin on this. I'm gonna make a rant on this in the next live. I'm gonna collect all the Hello Kitty items that have come out on other McDonald's Happy Meals, and we're gonna talk about this. So I'm
yeah.
making a note for myself.
No, no, no. And by far, like for example, I'm looking at the Hello Kitty with as Kiss, the Hello Kitty, as a strawberry. There's just much more elaborate, and McDonald's definitely has narrowed its, you know, profit margin because of inflation, right? Like, who the heck wants to get a cheeseburger for like $5 now? So like, there's no point to going to McDonald's anymore. There really isn't. And
Yeah, like the only time we go is like when we're in a road trip and we need to use the restroom.
yeah, exactly. Or you're like, okay, for life, for better or for worse, the egg McMuffin is still great. Like something still tastes good. It's just there's so many better options out there now. So
Like
much
when we
more.
need to go there, I usually just like when we need to go, I usually go for the apple pie.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, one apple pie, please. And if they have the holiday pie, it's like, give me one of them custardy, colorful holiday pie.
Or what about the Shamrock Shake?
I don't do that one anymore because we no longer consume colored dyes.
Hmm. Because you used to
Yeah,
like it. I always didn't
I
care
know.
for
That's
it.
why I also don't do the custard one anymore. But it's okay.
But I think we talked all there is to know about this McDonald's, and it is coming. So hey, if you go to McDonald's and you get a Happy Meal, make sure you get the apples, and then and then get one of these. But yes, you will be a little bit disappointed because they are very cheaply made. I doubt that they have a flip side. Probably just in
And
the
that's what
store.
I'm curious about. So I ordered some and we'll see what happens.
Okay, we'll open them live. We'll do it live.
I can't. It's a gift. Okay, next up we have Earth 2 Comics. We talked about them, I believe, for for last weekend for Comic Book Day, May 14th. They were participating during all these big events. And so following up with that steam, they're having another Saturday sidewalk sale because they still had a lot of items left over from it. And they also have two meet and greets today, one from 2 to 4, and that is for the creators of Emo Friends, of Super Emo Friends. And then we have another one for the creator of for the writer
Hmm.
of Mace Windu, who is Mark Bernard. And so that will be also during the same time from 2 to 4. So you can stop by, do some nice shopping, and also get some stuff signed, meet some great authors.
Ooh, that's pretty
And we
cool.
also have Bambi Raptor, man. She's coming in. She's coming in. She's like, Shaman Shake is My favorite is the chicken nuggets and the quarter pounder with cheese. Okay, okay. Honestly,
Or the
a quarter pounder is
QPC, as they call it now. They were trying to make that name a thing, and it just never stuck.
okay, remember there were some different sandwiches too that they were making like back in the day. There was like there was a chicken club. It came with that whole like chicken sandwich group that they had. I forgot what their names were, but they all had all these fancy names that were so new to McDonald's.
I remember a whole bunch of things from McDonald's, like when they did the Angus burgers. They were like, "Ooh, the
Oh
Angus burger, that
yeah.
was great."
Oh, and then my mom worked at McDonald's when we were growing up. And she told us a lot of the things that never got actually released, but they were test trying them within the store. One of them was McDonald's pizza
Yeah, the
that
mac.
they were test trying on their store. And my mom's like, "Yeah, I tried it. It's meh."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Pee Wee says it's all about the filet o fish.
Yeah, that's a classic. It's one of those things that you cannot get wrong. The filet o fish and the cheeseburger are kind of like the flavor is just so
Honestly,
unique.
I'll tell you what I used to have, and that is my Southern style chicken sandwich. That was my favorite thing in the world. It was literally just fried chicken, two pickles, butter on the bun, and the
Yeah,
stick.
the spicy
It was
ones
so
good
good.
too. But honestly, now I have a place, a much better place for chicken sandwich in downtown LA. Um, I'll search for the name because it escapes me. My wife took me there. I have a vendetta against the place. I could not finish the mild hot. I felt ashamed of myself.
It's
But you
too
know what? I'll be back.
spicy.
It's spicy.
It's spicy. Some food too spicy.
Yes. So it's a great. Oh my god, it tastes so good. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on because I was otherwise I'm gonna get hungry. Like go get
I'm
a good.
getting hungry
I
already.
know, like dude. Now we're gonna also talk about the Long Beach Antique Market, which is also happening tomorrow in an overcast Long Beach. Is gonna be nice and cool if you want to just go and look your best, take some pictures, find some treasures, meet some friends, right? Go ahead, go to Long Beach, right? Free parking, everybody. You have to pay the entrance, sure, but all in all, it's a really great event. So think about it. And when you go, right, remember, I'll be singing the praises. If you go and you leave like around noon, get the ice cream sandwiches that are outside from the Dapper Man. The Dapper
You need
Man,
to take a picture with
so
this dapper
good,
man.
so good. Oh my
You need
god,
to
let me see if
go
I can
take a
find.
picture with the dapper man and be like, "Eat his ice cream, friends." Because I've been meaning to go back to a Long Beach antique market. I mean, to the flea vintage, Long Beach
Yes,
vintage market. I'm reading.
I will take a. Oh my god, where is this man? I will take a picture with him. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go just to
You
take a
should
picture
go. Yeah,
with the
just
guy.
go and get ice cream. She's like, I'm just gonna go park
Why
and get
is
some
every
ice cream
conversation that we're having it ends up with food now?
because we're hungry.
Like we literally had like breakfast. I
I
know.
didn't.
And by the way, before we came on, we were discussing what we were going to have for lunch.
That is true. That's true. We were because I'm stopping by TJ and I don't know what Max wants.
Yeah, okay. Tarragon chicken salad sandwich.
Got it.
Get that and get the adult Takis. Get the fancy Takis. Oof.
I can't do those anymore. I got damaged.
Really? Oh my
I got
god.
damaged
Did
because
you
I ate
damn?
a whole bag all at once.
No, you're done.
So I
No.
got damaged.
Okay, so if you guys haven't tried them, there's a I call them adult Takis because they're basically upscale Takis. But if you eat too many, your tongue kind of starts bleeding. you know, at least that's what happens to me. What happens to me is I feel like if I eat too many, my tongue starts feeling like it has a cut. You
Oh,
know,
no, for me, it was my stomach. My stomach was on fire and in pain. And I was like, I made a mess. And I was driving while I was eating it. And because LA traffic is so bad, I was like, I'll just eat enough until I get home because I live really close to my work. But the traffic was really bad. I downed the whole bag. And I was like, there's
no,
gummies with a lot of salt. And I was like,
I've literally never considered even I can't fathom how you would eat that many. It's a huge bag.
oh, we have people saying that he'll be flea. Sorry, he'll
You'll
be
be
back.
fleeing the flea tomorrow.
He'll be at the flea tomorrow. He's bringing us back. He's keeping us away from our food tangent. Thank
Yes,
you,
thank
Pee Wee.
you.
That's a good friend right there.
Now, let's go ahead and go into a different topic. One that's actually pretty interesting. And by the way, we've been seeing what we call the forbidden door, right? And if you're a fan of
Ooh,
AEW, where two properties from two different companies finally collaborate to make something cool. Like we've been
nice.
having Transformers that are Jurassic Park, Hasbro Mattel, right? That's been happening for the past 2 years or so. We've been having a lot of this little collabs, but now it's made it to
Barbie and Monopoly.
exactly. So it's not a rare occurrence by any means, but this one just makes sense, right? This one just makes sense. You're having a RLC, or it's a red line collectible, Optimus freaking Prime, that can transform. It can transform and is based, yes, Pee Wee, it is awesome. It can transform and is based around the vintage toy.
It's so
Okay.
cool.
And it is the vintage truck. It is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And it goes live for shopping for pre order in Mattel's Creations on the 21st.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
You need to be on that because there's some really hungry sharks for that.
Oh, yes,
Oh my
know.
gosh. And yes, Pee Wee, the paint does look beautiful.
Yeah, the
They
paint.
honestly have done a great job because they painted every single detail. What's the
Yes.
price point on this?
So that's the thing. In terms of the price point, and I do have other like images about this. The whole thing, again, it's a Hot Wheel. It's not big, so that means that
Mm-hmm.
it's just about this big that it transforms. But one of the things about it is that you can the box is collector friendly. The
Oh,
packaging, which means that you can take off the blister, you can take off the card, and put it back together.
nice.
And they give you the option of displaying it as a Transformers toy, like Optimus Prime standing in the blister card, or as a
Hot
Hot
Wheel.
Wheel,
Nice.
with the traditional Hot Wheel RLC, the red line collectibles. Now, that means that the only thing in the package is the little card that transforms and a little blaster for Optimus Prime, as you guys can
Okay,
see.
okay. Let's guess it. Let's guess it. Okay. In the chat, what do you think the price point is? Because I'm leaning towards like 69.99. What do you
Okay.
guys think? Pee Wee, Bambi,
How about
Silent Friends,
how about this? I tell you whether you're getting hotter because this is red line,
and it is
or
Hot Wheels.
cold. Hotter. You're getting hot. You're getting hot,
Okay, but I'm not fully there.
but you're not
Okay.
there.
$79.
69 is getting there, but it's close.
Okay, so not 79.99. We have
79
23 from Pee Wee.
that would be the price. That would be the dream. But people would be freezing right now. No, this is $80.
Why?
This is $80.
Oh my God! Look, Bambi Raptor was on the money.
Yes, this is $80. And keep in mind that in order for you to purchase it, you also need to be part of the Red Line member club.
So you're paying a membership. Okay, it's kind of like the Barbie Club, to buy those cute
Yes.
little outfits we talked about last time. And yes, I mean you got it. We'll mail you a
Yes.
sticker.
And that means that it's $80 on top of $10 for the year membership,
So that,
which means
what
that
about shipping?
dude, I hope that thing is free. I really do. That'll be ridiculous. That would be like $100, car if you're really just gonna have the membership for this. Now let me tell you.
Okay, here's Max putting on his clown makeup. Let's go.
Let me just put the nose, so thing. I already have the
I thought
membership.
you said already. Okay, okay, okay. So you already kind of did half
I
the face. You know, you did the foundation.
Yeah, I had the foundation because from back here. Yeah, yeah. Hot Wheels is tinsy for sure, and it is. Trucks tend to be smaller of a scale, Bambi. You're right. Like trucks should be bigger, but this is kind of shrunk it down to the size of a car, which is totally out of scale. But the fact that it physically transformed makes it cool. Now, I already have this membership because I bought it last year to get this Volkswagen, right?
Okay.
So, and I've been saying, man, I only bought that membership for that one item. This would make it two, so make it worth it.
And he added the
Wig,
wig.
wig, wig. Next, my membership is actually set to expire on the 22nd, meaning one day after this thing goes live. So I need to hurry up and get it.
Okay, fine.
No,
I love the mental gymnastics for this.
knows. I mean, it
And
is
it's
just the
perfectly
start.
timed. Okay, I'm gonna join you with a little bit of foundation. It is perfectly timed.
It is perfectly timed, I gotta say. So, like, this would be like the last chance for me to say it. And the other one, the one that just literally breaks the mold. And I'm saying this knowing full well that it may completely happen. I need to rehearse the
Okay.
words, think about it.
Right now I'm trying to call a friend.
Okay.
I'm trying to dial a friend. Let me see if he's available. Evangelist.
Uh,
I want to know what he has to say about this.
Technically, because my membership is expiring the day after, I don't
Mhm.
really need to buy the membership anymore for any other projects that may happen in the future. This could be my last one.
Lies.
And
These are
then,
straight up lies. As soon as you don't purchase that membership, you'll be like, oh my God, I need to buy this other thing.
and the thing is that the membership is already set in auto renewal. But, but, but,
Of
but,
course
but,
it
but,
is.
but,
Of course
but,
it is.
but, I changed my credit card or my debit card since then. So it's just gonna be like failure payment, whatever, right? Because
Mhm.
it's not the right card anymore. So it's going to
They're just
expire no
gonna
matter what.
mail you. They're just gonna mail you the bill. It's like, here you
Yeah.
go. You seem to have forgotten to give us your new information.
So there it is. There's the mental gymnastics. And by the way, the other part is that this guy will not be alone because now they're also releasing a bumblebee that is basically just a regular, bocho, aka the Volkswagen Beetle, with the little red mark on the side. There's nothing special to it. It's just yellow with a decal.
Okay, what about if I do this for you?
Okay.
I go
What?
onto eBay and I
Okay.
find this Transformers decals.
Uh huh.
And also Decepticon decals. And you can go
Yeah.
ahead and just put in any car you want.
Yep. That's perfectly acceptable. That's perfectly in my book. That's perfectly acceptable. You know, and I feel like this is going to be a thing that's going because we've had humongous success with the Godzilla Tampo. Like
Yeah.
everybody loves the Godzilla like decal on all the Nissans. They're really hard to find, right? So far we have two. I've only found one. So now the whole we're gonna make all the Decepticons is going to definitely happen. We're gonna make all the Autobots is gonna happen. Now keep in mind this is not the only Optimus. This one
Mm.
is a Optimus that is already out for pre-order. We talked about it a little bit in a few podcasts ago. So you can already get an Optimus Prime for a cheaper price. This is like maybe what is it, $10 or $6, something like that.
Oh, that's
And
not
it gives
bad.
a trailer, but the paint again, it's not the
So
super
So there
nice.
is like a playline
Yeah, yeah.
version
There's
for
a
the collector that just really wants to have it as the
correct,
collaborative
correct, correct.
merch. Okay.
And this one has the bonus that it brings the hauler, the trailer,
Hmm.
right? This one has the regular plastic wheels, meaning that it can race on a track without getting super slowed down. It won't
Oh,
transform for you, and it doesn't have the spectral flame paint. But hey, it's the same basic idea, and I already have it pre-ordered. What?
of course, of course. And then you should just go to Dollar Tree and buy the transformed one that they sell. And then you're like, put it next to it. It's like, pretend, just
Done.
pretend.
Done. And as you guys may recall, I sold all my Transformers. I do not know if this is bringing me back in another way, shape, or form, and I do
It's a
not.
loop.
It's
You know how they have like that recycle loop? There's a collector loop.
I
You
think
buy, you sell,
so.
you come back. I'm telling you, I'm just waiting for the moment that I have to go buy back all my ponies.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. You're already thinking about the big pony.
I've been like, I kind of just want to keep my big, like gigantic pony collections because it's just something about them when they're so
I
big.
think Pony and Transformers is the same for you and me because I just want to keep the big
And they
Optimus.
did have a collab.
Yes,
And
they
I
did.
know Bambi Raptor makes a lot of customs as well. I think she made a Transformers costume, if I am not.
What if they make a pony that
mistaken.
actually transforms into Optimus Prime robot? Can you imagine? That would be a nightmare fuel.
You would have that
That would be hilarious.
because you love horses. You can't
I
help it, but
don't, but
you
I
love.
actually I do love horses. It's true. So keep it's my stable. Keep an eye on
See, she did make it. It was Bumblebee.
yeah. Uh, keep an eye on our socials because if I get it, I will post about it, and we will definitely talk about it on the next episode. Okay,
See, and the pony collab was Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime. Yeah.
They also did the Power Ranger collabs.
Now, from one vehicle to the other, from military style vehicles, we also have Fleet Week. So if you guys
Ooh.
don't want to do any like flea market type of events this weekend, you wanted something a little bit different, you can go to San Pedro for Los Angeles Fleet Week
It's this weekend?
this weekend. No, no, sorry, next weekend, next weekend, next weekend.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Because I was like, whoa, they're having the Long Beach Antique Market. It's going to be a lot of traffic.
No, 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 it's next weekend. Thank you for the correction. And again, this is actually a really cool event in
And we
which
also had, sorry. We also had like a Ghostbusters one too.
true,
Pony
true, true.
collab.
Yeah, like we have cameos galore. It's just this one, the Hot Wheel team got the opportunity to design it on its own, you know? So it's kind of cool. So this is a Transformers not made by Hasbro. This is a Transformers made by Mattel.
Wow. I
This
see,
is
I see,
why
I
it's a
see.
little bit, special or
That's true,
different.
that's true, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So yeah, if you want to do some photography for military vehicles, want some reference, want to just enjoy a really cool atmosphere, you can go to San Pedro's LA Fleet Week. It's a really cool event, a bit underrated in my opinion. It's huge, it's free, and there are tons of food trucks, events going on. It goes throughout the entire week, and it also is an opportunity for you to kind of mingle with sailors. And the best thing is visit the warships, right? All the battleships. Right now we're going to have an aircraft carrier coming on,
Ooh.
which is huge. We've never had a proper like ginormous aircraft carrier, and it's coming sometime this week. So if you're a photographer, you want to be as you want to visit San Pedro throughout the week because they arrive and you see them sail with this giant ships just like pass on by. I used to live literally right in front of them, right, and I would
Wow.
see them, and it's very impressive. So it's a really cool experience. Last year I took Lou, of all
Mhm.
people. We went with my cousin, and it's really cool. So if you guys want to go, you meet also all of our servicemen and women. It's great. It's great. Oh, you also get to meet a whole bunch of like service animals too.
Oh.
All the canines are there from every branch. It's very, very nice. So if you wanted something a little bit different next weekend, San Pedro, LA Fleet Week, completely free. And there's a shuttle, there's a trolley
Ooh.
system that takes you all around the town. And there
That's
is a
pretty
toy store in the area.
Oh, the one that's always closed. Oh.
Yeah, it's really difficult to. That's why I'm not promoting it because I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna be open.
But just know there's like a ghostly one there that's sometimes open, sometimes closed. When
Yeah,
open, sometimes good deals.
yeah. Now here we go. First, the biggest thing.
Okay.
We're gonna try it. Okay, guys. I know we've done a lot of
We're
X-Men. We're gonna try to
sorry.
keep this one short and sweet. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do our best. So this is part three, which we totally did not know existed, and so it is part three of Tolerance is Extinction, and there are some trigger warnings. No longer for Jean Grey. She's doing better. She's doing better. There is some violence. There is still some slicing. There is no nudes this time around, but there is a lot of. I will gonna change the Jean Grey trigger for an Xavier trigger
Mm,
because this boy is worse. I feel like as soon as he came back into the show, Jean Grey stopped being the bad guy, and
no.
he took over as being the annoying bad dude that he is.
Yeah, with a shaky, questionable philosophical morale.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And
So
the
we begin with this very sleek, conversation that they have in this bar post World War II, in which the professor is kind of telling them like, oh, you're cool, and they're like, cool, but have you met? What if mutants were real? They're like, no, they're not real. When they're
Yeah, so
like,
this
well,
is before they knew that they were mutants together. And that's the first time, like, they had just become friends, I guess, in this situation. They had recently created a very strong brotherly bond. And they began to talk about, like, oh, w- we're here because we want to, like, help people and stuff. And then they both kind of tell each other, Xavier starting, that he is a mutant. And he's like, oh, mine's bent to my will. And Magneto's like, well, metal bends to mine.
yeah. So they get to know each other. They kind of confess to one another who they are, who their true selves is. And Eric Voss from New Rockstars made the kind of parallel to two people coming out of the closet, right?
Hmm.
It's the same idea. Like you have this identity that just kind of kept secret, especially at the time, for fear that is going to be misjudged and is going to bring violence and misunderstanding towards you. So you keep it very secret. So it was a very good parallel. But quickly we find out that this is simply a memory, right? This is a memory, and Charles is inside uh, Magneto's head, trying to kind of take over his power, or at the very least coax him to work alongside him to
Yeah, so
reverse
like
the polarity.
we begin to so the episode starts with this beautiful scene that we later on learn is just mental manipulation by Charles,
Yeah,
which it's really, really, really messed up because I'm like, dude, you are in his mind and you're manipulating it to like the most positive and memory he has of you, like their meeting of your encounter. And then when he realizes where he's at, we get to see this visual of like his sadness and all the grief that he carries as like an ocean that's captured behind a window or like
yeah,
surrounding the bar. So once we see what is truly happening, like IRL, like is this super violent mental takeover of Magneto?
yes. And then you even see like Professor Xavier's mental power manifest as a freaking beam into his head, which is, again, yes, you're doing it for the greater good, but also showing that Charles Xavier very much has a uh, general's perspective of war, where it's okay to do morally ambiguous things so long as it's for the greater good, quote unquote, right?
Exactly. And like one of the things that it really I was like, ugh, I was like, it felt so gross, mostly because of the language that was being used for it. It was when Magneto was like, oh, this level of mental penetration will go ahead and put us both like in a coma. And Charles is like, yeah, I'm still gonna do it. And then Magneto's like pleading to him not to do it. And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah, yeah.
it's uncomfy.
No, it is very much uncomfortable because it does allude to, on like non-consensual, right? A non-consensual relationship that is happening at the time. And
Hmm.
sure, there is, the greater good, like, oh, all humanity is going to die type of thing. So who cares about you and what you want to do? You caused this. But at the same time, you get to see that humanity of Magneto at the very end is very frail when he's like, no, no, no,
Oh.
please. Like, it's just like, so.
I felt really bad about Magneto. You know, I have not been liking Magneto much in this series,
Mhm.
but this kind of turned the tide for me because I was like, that's not nice. I'm like, no, I felt really bad for him. And I was like, no, I don't like the professor anymore.
No, and that's the thing. Professor X is always a very morally ambiguous person. Like,
Mm.
he's not a nice person. He is very much a manipulative individual in his own way. He doesn't see it that way, right? He
He
doesn't
does
see the
not.
character
He's
does
like
not see it
so
that way.
blinded.
Yes, because he's always kind of like guises himself with the, okay, this
I
is
am
for
teacher.
a very good mission, right? But he doesn't know
Mhm.
what his mission really does to other people, right? And we get a number of spectators here, what this is happening to, which is very important because we're getting different perspectives, and this is setting up a larger universe, or at the very least giving us the whole, like, yes, this is happening, and
It's
the
affecting the entirety
yeah,
of the Marvel verse.
yeah, and it's affecting individuals. Like, you see
Yeah.
people like Silver Samurai, who is
He's still just chilling in the roof like he was in the last
yes,
scene.
absolutely, and
We,
he clearly has other problems. Like, okay, what's going on? He's clearly upset. He is the head honcho of a power company in Japan. You know,
so he's like, I don't know what you guys are doing over there in the States, but stop it.
yeah, like, clearly I need to get involved here because what happened here was ridiculous. And then you see Captain America and '90s Iron Man, right?
Hmm.
Just be like, we could do something, but I guess not, because we're
Yeah,
like,
they're literally just watching TV with the president.
yes, they are
That's
watching TV.
and like we will have more scenes like this throughout the show where they show like, oh, everybody, just to kind of show the whole world's connected and that it is affecting a lot of
Yeah.
people, a lot of heroes throughout all of the entire world.
Mhm.
And yeah, you will continue to see what these two boys are up to.
No,
And
but
we do get a sneak peek of Daredevil. And what is funny is like Daredevil's like, well, light or no light, I still can see. It's like
I didn't
you
say
I
anything
like
about that. To
it's
me,
like
nothing's
vision.
changed. I'm just stopping looters because he's like a Batman type of character, right? He doesn't have any powers other than his, like,
Yeah,
augmented
so he's like,
sense.
nothing changes for me, everything's still good.
I like that Doctor Strange, uh, because there's no power, right? You
Mhm.
technically can't perform operations in the hospital, but he can. So
Yeah.
he's still fulfilling his responsibility to humanity. So he gets a pass, right? He
I
gets a
love the
pass.
fact that he's like, you know what? Lights are out. I can wear my cape in the operation room. It's clean.
Yeah.
It is not clean.
And then meanwhile, we get this final revelation that the plan has failed. Bastion has the last cards. Since at this point in time, Charles successfully, succeeded in manipulating and taking over Magneto's
Yeah.
power to reverse the effect, which means that every single Sentinel person, mutant, hybrid thing, um, is back online. All the
Mhm.
robots are back, all the power is back, and now that means that Bastion has his full army back. So the X-Men very much fall. And we get to
Yeah.
see a nice little cameo of King T'Chaka. This is not T'Challa, he's this T'Chaka as Black Panther.
It's very cool. And we do have, that Cable is still under the control of Sinister. And he is, and they're pretty much just bagging on him. They're like, hey, you X'd out your mom.
Yeah, like, oh, you killed your mom, and you also you
You're just an
failed.
orphan now. You made yourself an orphan. I
Yeah,
was
you
like, you
failed to,
guys are
like,
jerks.
they're pretty much being, jerks, man. And the thing is that Cable has been like the most innocent
He has been
person
the
in this entire.
sweetest. Yes. My heart bleeds for Cable. He has become one of my favorite characters in this entire series because he's such a sweetheart. I'm like,
Yes.
he's a manly sweetheart. He has a heart of gold. He has the most honest eyes. I just want to take care of him.
Yeah, and you know what? It was very good that they were able to convey that through animation. It was very nice. Now, as everybody comes back, you know, Iron Man and Captain America, as well as everybody else, are like, oh no, this is going to be a problem. So they start to like kind of say, okay, there's something wrong here. We see cameos from Psylocke. We have Puck as well, Alpha Flight, the rest of the Canadian team. I don't know why Psylocke is with them, but she is.
It's just
You also
chilling.
see you also see part of the Crimson Guard, which is Crimson Dynamo, or the Red Guard. Sorry,
Mm.
Crimson Dynamo, Omega Red, and I think it's like oh Shadow Star. I think is its current name is called. But yes, it's the Russian team, protecting
Ah,
their leader.
leader. So it's like
Hmm.
all the teams that kind of protect world leaders and
Correct.
Psylocke.
And Psylocke for some reason because she needed to make an appearance because everybody loves Psylocke.
And then here we also get another like change. Like Bastion decides that he's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna X out Cable because he's gonna stop at nothing at destroying my plan because he already tried to save his mom like over 200 times and failed. But we know like he loves his mommy,
Yeah.
and um, Mr. Sinister is like, hey, you said that he was gonna be mine because like this is gonna be my reward because he's
And
like the perfect genes and everything.
and at this point, let's acknowledge that Cable is crying.
I
You know,
know they got to poor Cable to the point they made him cry.
yeah, like Cable is just literally crying like a little boy because he's finally like realized what they did. So he's very much also being manipulated to the point that he has no free will, very much like Charles did
Oh,
to Magneto.
Magneto.
Yeah, and it's showing you how vulnerable that makes you feel. Like when you take all the power from your own self and you have no power over, your own body. That's so weird, you know?
Yeah. So, but then we have this moment where he's able to say, it's like, oh, maybe you two should have listened and waited what what the pretty much the world had to say about my mother. And that's when we have the Phoenix rise again. And we have this beautiful image of Cable just smiling with the biggest grin as his mama comes and destroys all the people that were bullying him. He's such a mama's boy.
Yeah, oh, he totally is. And the thing is that let's acknowledge the weirdness here. Like, so is this Madeline, the person who gave birth to him? No.
No, but what we know from X-Men is that family is a choice, and they've
Yeah.
all decided to be family. Like they have the same bio, they have the same genetic material. She could be auntie, but then she's so closely related that she's mom. So it's like, sure. It's like I'll
Yeah.
take a mom. He's like, I tried to save a mom, didn't work out. I'll take a mom if she wants to be a mom.
Yeah, because they also have like the shared memories and they have the shared that like genetically Madeline and Jean are equal, they're the same. So
Hmm.
it's just like, yeah, it's a bridge for sure, but they crossed it, which is great, you know?
Yeah, and so
So
she's able to put that headgear that they created to kind of cut Bastion's connection to the rest of the Biosentinels,
yes.
and the connection is severed. So we again get a big glimpse of what happened around the world. So we see the Crimson people again, and then Daredevil and his buddies. They're just like, oh, we were getting attacked. We're not getting attacked again. Like we don't know when things are going to change again. So they're
Yeah.
just kind of standing by.
And I love that Phoenix is able to remove all the DNA from Mr. Sinister. That's a really cool bit because
See,
Mr.
and I
Sinister,
didn't know that Mr. Sinister did that.
oh yeah, Mr. Sinister is terrible, dude. Mr. Sinister has like has engineered on his own DNA. He kind of collects the best genes and puts it
Oh,
on himself, you know?
that's why he's so powerful.
Yeah, he's very powerful, but he chooses. He's very vain, right? So he chooses which genes to actually use and which ones will work, which is why he was looking for Cable, right? Which is
Ah,
because again, Mr. Sinister thinks that Cyclops and Jean have like the best genetic material. So together they must make like the ultimate genetic vessel for him, I guess. And yeah, that seems to not be the case because now he's
and
old.
yeah, because Jean went ahead and just went into his body and destroyed all that genetic material. And he aged hardcore. But
Yeah,
then but then we had Bastion go ahead and have like a second wind and break the hold that Jean had on him, and everybody just got knocked out. And then he goes ahead and takes off, detaches the arm of Cable and begins to whip him with it. I was like, I'm like, literally, I was at Oz and I was shocked. I was like, this is such violence, guys.
No, and the thing is that it's so brutal
Sad.
and disrespectful too. And because Cable is able to, so he was injected with this like techno organic virus, right?
Hmm.
So as he ages, he learns to concentrate it in his arm, right?
That's what that is. Okay, because for me, I was like, I don't know why he has a robot arm. I think he might have lost that an arm at one point. Yes, this is not a kid show or a comic.
It well, it's for the cool kids. Let's say that.
Oh
Because I
gosh.
remember reading this as a kid, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is the best." But I do acknowledge that kids nowadays have changed. I talked about my little nephew who loves Wolverine, and anytime he looks at Wolverine comic books from the '90s, where everybody's bleeding, everybody's just like super hairy, and sometimes even like scantily clad. Like Wolverine, half of the time has no shirt, right? So he asks me, "Why does Wolverine have no shirt?" I'm like, that's he's fighting like that, and he's like, is that blood? Like anytime he sees that, like it's a shock
Oh,
to them, right? For me, it was just like, yo, because dude, we grew up with Saint Seiya.
I know. We grew up with different shows. Grew up with different filters. So I understand, but it's still not kid
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
appropriate.
yeah. I get the point of view. Is definitely not for today's kids, but it was for us kids back in the day. Uh, because I gotta tell her the one image that always just sits in my mind. Remember Saint Seiya, Saori, how
Hmm.
he forced the kids
To give her rights as a
to
pony.
give her a ride as a horsey, and
I
she
hate her.
whipped
She would
them.
whip him.
And then
I
later on, the kids would have like bleeding hands, knees, right? And
Yeah,
then
Sour is
she'd be like,
nuts.
ah, like it was
She
brutal.
was awful. No, she was awful. I'm telling like that show is something else. That's Saint Seiya. We might talk about that later on as well.
Yeah,
So let us know
but
if you guys want us to cover Saint Seiya as well. I will do it in a way that you don't have to see all the all the bloody parts.
which is like 90% of the show.
We'll go through it because we did as children.
So now we have Bastion with his super cool techno organic virus look, which is actually from the
Yeah,
comic
because
book.
he like took the arm and just mixed it with himself and then became
Yeah.
the shiny one.
Which is kind of cool because now that means that maybe Cable is free from the virus,
Oh,
maybe, or
question mark?
maybe it just regenerates, but we don't know. But at the moment, we have this really new Bastion that has like the second coming uh, s- details. Like this story was inspired by the second coming X-Men. Uh,
Mm.
by the way, there's a lot of different like biblical references in comic
Throughout the
books from
X-Men, yeah.
X-Men, yeah, like the Messiah complex, the second coming, right? So there's a lot. God hates, man kills. Like God loves, man kills. Like there's a lot of God and all that. It's a thing throughout the mythos of the X Men. It's very much uh, a way to showcase
I think
the
also like to
consequences.
showcase
Yeah,
their human beliefs because they are mutants are pretty much come from humans. They have cultures, they have heritage, and it kind of brings back that connection to humanity and
yeah,
that there is a different beliefs throughout all the different mutants, and then how it's represented and how they use it when interpreting their
yeah.
mutations,
It's
changes in
very
the
much a
story.
sandbox to explore the consequences of inequality, the consequences of intolerance, right? So like it's very much it's an interesting playground to play in, right? Like if you're a writer for X-Men, you have a lot of really a lot of characters to play around and build a really cool story. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. We
Mhm.
have some really good X-Men stories, and we have some really like, why are they vampires right now? Stories.
Because
Yeah,
sometimes you need those tangents, those fun tangents. And so
that's what
we
you
do
did.
have,
But yes, let's
I,
finish up with here because Wolverine now is you can tell he's gonna live. You know,
yeah, he's slowly recovering, and we still have like Magnet, Magneto, and Xavier, you know, kind of trying to figure out what happened. after the psyche takeover, we know that Magneto's psyche is damaged and
Mhm.
he has forgotten who he is.
Correct. And at the moment, they're both kind of okay. They're gonna happen, and they're we have a really cool line, but from Cyclops telling him, telling Wolverine to do what he does best,
Which
and
is
this
here.
kind of reframes who Wolverine is because we know that Wolverine is very much a softie, right? So, but Wolverine sees himself as an animal, as a weapon, as a person who X's people out, right? For lack of a better term, who unalives people, and that's usually the implied message, right? It's the whole, oh, I what I do and what I do isn't very nice. But Cyclops went ahead and said, like, do what you do best, heal. So like it completely refrains, like reshapes, what we think of him. Like, yeah, it's true. He can be a weapon, but his power, his true power is healing. It's coming back, right? Which is very, very nice.
Yeah, and we do have a really nice comment over here. It's like, I like how you point out that about X-Men, there's almost a narrative on genetic differences, which can be tied into ethnic and racial differences. And it teaches acceptance in that sense.
Yeah. So if a person is, I guess, like just like any reading, right? Um, can help a child or a person reading the comic book kind of read between the lines. It could be a very eye-opening experience to read a comic book story by the X-Men. But what happens is oftentimes that's not the case. People just read it and they're like, "Ah, I read that," and then it's left to the reader to just interpret. But then later on, you kind of begin to piece things together and you're like, "Oh, that's what happened," And that's what's one of the cool things about parenthood that I think. Like if I become a parent in the future, oh my gosh, it's going to be so cool. Like I'm gonna be able to pass on everything I know. It's so nice. But anyway, moving on, and I love what you've done here because we all know that the worst cartoon character that ever was put to paper is freaking Caillou.
Yeah, and he's like, yes, or the interpretation is awesome. I wish I had those powers. Exactly. Those are
I
the
know
two.
exactly.
Those are two. You either read between the lines or you just enjoy the surface content.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so we go ahead and we have a psychic connection between Jean, the what's it, Gold Team? I don't know their own
Gold and
names.
blue.
Gold and Blue Team. So they finally reconnect. They find out that Jean's okay. They're okay. They kind of figure it out, and they're gonna find their way back to space where these guys are, because these guys are at the meteor astro base. I don't know,
Asteroid
but
M. Uh huh.
as they're in like asteroid thing, and so
Yes.
they tell him, "Hey, watch out! Bastion's on his way, and he's super powerful." And then the professor goes and cuts in. It's like, "By the way, I'm kind of we're still good. I'm just trying to figure out if Magnus like lost his memory or not because I kind of
I
broke
like
him."
Professor X is like, please make sure to save me. We're still fine. Don't just abandon us.
Yeah,
You
it's like,
know?
don't forget, like, take our bodies around places because we good. We're alive. We're alive.
Yeah, just checking in, guys. I'm still, working with through, Magnus, and just do your best. I'm
Just do
like,
your best, but
okay.
we're still here. And so we have Bastion approach the base, and we have like a really nice moment where Rogue is just like, okay, I finally get to beat the person who took Remy away from me. And she goes to town with the punching and everything. And the animators did give us that booty shot.
That booty
That
shot that everybody loves from the X-Men original series.
that she
Like,
had no reason to back up into the camera as much as she did. But we
I don't
got
know.
full moon, we
It
got a
was
full
it,
lunar eclipse.
and that's one of the things that the animators have done. That's they actually kept everything very risque, right? They
They
kept a lot
did.
of things. They get a lot of shots that are very suggestive, but they're very fast. You know,
Exactly.
they're
So
all
and
in.
comments too.
Yeah, they're all in the animation, which I think is a nice, is an easy way to put it, right? It's a cool way. Like if you're seeing it for the first time, you literally have to freeze frame it in order for you, like, oh my God, that
And I
drawing
think
is
that's what made it really fun for us rewatching it and taking all the stills for you guys because we
yes.
get to really capture these moments. And yes, Bambi Raptor, not that child. But just think about how annoying Caillou was when we watched it in PBS. Just think about that grown up. And that's exactly what you
With
get with
mental
Professor
powers, with the
Charles.
power to
With
control
mental,
your mind.
exactly. Like, you know why mommy and daddy in Caillou were doing everything he said? Because he had like a mental grab on their behavior.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Caillou is a terrible person.
He's
I
awful.
honestly, that kid is. I'd rather have
And
Arthur. I want to see Arthur punch him in the face. You know?
and if you ever want to see like Caillou get his just desserts and just be an annoying adult, go to YouTube and watch Caillou as an adult. It's created by the same group that makes Grown Up Dora. And oh my gosh, Grown Up Dora is hilarious. So I will recommend that show. The Caillou one, he's as obnoxious as he was when he was
By
little.
the way, I don't know what it is, but for the past month, every time I've accomplished something, like what it could be anything, like oh, I finished submitting my grades, or I finished completing this assessment, or I just went grocery shopping. I do. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know why. Like every time my wife, she comes home and she's like, "I'm here," and I'm like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, "Oh my god, Dora the Explorer is like definitely ingrained in my mind." You know?
Because like here, when you watch Dora, you were learning Spanish, but when we were watching in El Salvador, we were learning English.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes,
They
and
flip it.
so
It's very creative. Uh-huh.
yeah, they did a really good job with it. See, we speak English so well because of the
Yeah, it's not because of the Teletubbies, because they don't speak at
they
all.
don't speak. So we go ahead and look into the psyche, and Magnus is freaking out. He's dealing with all the mourning that he experienced as a child, and all the loss of all the people that he has kind of left behind without his in his life. But he does have like a little boat of folk that are there amongst all that pain, and one of the main persons there is Rogue. But I'm like, what about your two children that are like standing over there in the
Three,
shadow?
three children. Magnus has three kids, and they're all there. You have Scarlet Witch and Pietro, right?
Those are
Wanda
the two
and
I know.
those are the two. Those are the twins born at the same time. My wife was telling me, like, wait, so who's the middle child? I was like, there is no middle child. There's just twins, and then is Lorna, aka Polaris, who actually made a cameo appearance earlier in the flashback when we looked at the future,
Mm-hmm.
right? She was old and she was kind of floating and having like magnetic powers. They're green. She has her dad's magnetic abilities. Yeah.
Ah,
So there's
and
three: Lorna, Wanda, and Pietro. They're all there, but in shadow.
in shadow because the only one he has eyes for is Rogue. And I love that he says, "But she left me." It's like such a broken man. I was like, okay, fine. You can be sad for Rogue.
The
You
one
are
thing,
missing
okay,
that booty. I get it.
the one thing I do kind of like was that when Magneto is kind of like freaking out, just literally having this existential crisis. It's going through a very bad place, right? Because he's reliving trauma, is finally accepting and letting it, letting it fill him. Like, and that's when we
Mhm.
see the room fill with water because it's literally filling him. All of that emotion, all of those things coming back. Um, and at that moment, it's very much private. It's just Magneto and him in himself, kind of coming to terms with it. But I like how they have this. They have the professor just kind of hold him, and it's like, "I'll be here. I'm here with you." Like, because let's not get it twisted. The power of holding someone is oftentimes not even acknowledged, but
Mhm.
it is true. Like when you're going through something, and your significant other, somebody that cares for you, holds you, it is so powerful, you know? And that's one of the things
It's
I like.
comforting.
It's
Mhm.
comforting and it does help you through because you personally can't do anything else. There's nothing you can say, right? There's nothing you physically can do to like make the hurt go away. The only thing you can do is hold someone
And be
and
just there for them. Be
just be
present
there. Yeah,
for
be
them. Yeah.
present. And that's one thing that I did like about this moment, right? That yes, a lot of this was because Charles kind of made it happen, like put all the triggers in the right place. But at the
Hmm.
same time, you had this very nice moment, which I think portrayed a very human emotion for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like for me, I was like, I can see the war moment, but I'm like, everything can be tailored by Charles. That's what I don't like about it. That like he could be the Humpty Dumpty. If you watched Puss in
Hmm.
Boots, he was always there. He was the one always creating everything. So I was like,
Puss in
I
Boots,
don't trust him.
underrated movie series, man. That movie's
Great
awesome.
movie. When my flight got delayed, I watched it twice, back to back.
Yes, one and two, they're great.
Yes, they're
It
really
was
good. No, I watched
always
one.
there.
I watched one twice.
Did you ever watch number two?
Yeah, it is so good, so good.
God, that wolf is awesome.
I
Death.
know.
But anyways,
Okay, we
so
got
now the
don't
X-Men
let
are
us go
like,
on the
you know,
tangent.
yeah, let's do it, and they're like fighting and
Yeah,
kicking, kicking X-Men butt.
and they decide that they're like, you know what, we're gonna stop fighting and embrace the future, and they try to convert Bastion into their team. And Bastion's like, you guys are crazy because I'm here trying to murder all y'all, and you're trying to recruit me. And they're like, but you might feel a certain way, but humanity doesn't. Because during this time, we had pretty much the president make the choice that he's like, hey, by the way, we're
BT
throwing
Dub.
BT Dub, we're about to use the Magneto Protocol because we're humans and we feel super threatened by everything that's happening up there. And like all of these sentinels were attacking mutants, not humans, but we feel threatened. So we're gonna send some nukes your way.
Yeah, we're gonna get you some gift with purchase over here, and
And
they're going to be pretty much in a very bad situation. Earthlings, we really didn't think that one through because we're like,
they really
okay,
did not.
I'm gonna shoot tons of missiles to an asteroid in Earth orbit that's probably going to fall on Earth and
Mhm.
just doom us all. I'm like, okay, great, good plan.
Because their plan was like, oh, we're gonna shoot all these nukes to it and it's kind of gonna push it away of the orbit and they'll explode far away. But it actually just pushed and crashed down.
And you know what,
That's it.
dude,
Gravity.
you have Iron Man right there. Who
Hmm.
isn't he supposed to be a genius? Is that like, yeah, that's not gonna work, you know?
Now he's just
But
standing around. He's like, I just have been in the president's room.
yeah, I'm like, is this an empty armor that's just like moving around? Because Jesus Christ.
I
But
wonder, like, didn't hit the magnetism affect his armor?
now it's shut down. You remember Magneto returned everything under the control of Charles, right? So everything's fine. The
But
lights are back on.
before that he was still using it. That's one of the things that threw me off.
I know. Well, we also get this really special moment where we have Cyclops ask Jean to connect with Cable, who is now healing
I
in,
know.
and has no arm. So is healing, and they're telling him, hey,
This
uh,
is this is a very sweet scene. My laugh there was not because of that, because I thought you were gonna talk about Mr. Fantastic. Because out of nowhere, after they explode the base, Mr. Fantastic's like being pulled to a vacuum of space. I'm like, where were you?
that was Morph.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Morph,
why is Mr. Fantastic here?
Morph turns into Mr. Fantastic to hold on
Ah, okay. Because I was
because
like, did they just like hire him to keep this place up and running?
the thing is that Morph can only replicate mutations that are physical, that are phenotypes,
Ah,
like
okay, got it, got it,
that
got it.
affect the actual like body parts. He
Mm-hmm.
cannot replicate psychic powers like optic blast and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that comes from somewhere else,
Mm.
you can't do it. So his entire mutation relies around like making something that was really strong or something stretchy, something big, something small. So
Ah,
that's
okay,
what.
yeah, because when this guy came into frame, I was like, wait, what were you doing here? But I just thought it was so funny. Like, you know how when they do cartoons and like something happens, you see like a flying chicken or something. So I thought
Yeah,
he was the flying chicken of the show.
no, no, no. He was more trying to hold on.
Oh,
So
okay, never mind. More continue trying to survive.
yeah, so here we have Cyclops finally telling him that he loves him. He loves
Oh, no.
Cable as a son, and he shows him his eyes, and these eyes are now yours. Like it's just like, oh my god, it was so sweet. I have never seen Cyclops tell his son, "I love you." I've seen it in Batman to Nightwing, and
Mhm.
every time it brings me to tears. Like it's so
Oh.
well done when they do it. And this time around, Cyclops saying it finally to Cable. I'm like, dude, this kid needed to hear that.
He
Literally
did.
never heard you say those words. Yeah.
He did. And I thought it was so sweet the way, like, even like Jean behaved well. Everything went really well. It was a very sweet telepathic connection and goodbye. And we
Yes.
have sad Cable afterwards, but I do have a little bit of a concern. It's like, okay, Forge, you tech savvy. He's tech. And so for me, one of the things was when I first put this slide in was I didn't know why he had a robotic arm, but now that you explained that it was kind of part still attached to his body, now I
Mhm.
understand why they bandaged it off because I'm like, I don't understand why they put bandage in robot parts, but
Yes.
I get it now. I get it now. So it's just sad Cable now.
Now, here we get the best cameo of them all. And I'll tell you why this is significant. Okay. Because this is Peter Parker, Flash Thompson in the back, aka Venom, the lethal protector. And then you also have Mary Jane. Okay. Now, here's the deal. The 90s Spider-Man cartoon ended in a cliffhanger in
Okay.
which it turns out that Mary Jane was a clone and that Mary Jane had actually been kidnapped and taken somewhere across the Spider-Verse.
Oh
And
no. What's with
Peter
cloning?
Peter Parker had to go with Madam Web, search
Hmm.
the spider web for Mary Jane. So the fact that Mary Jane is here after the events of Spider-Man gives us validation that he succeeded and that Mary Jane is safe and back. And you're like, finally, closure after so many years. I can guarantee you that Toy Shiz, who's a huge Spider-Man in the animated series fan, was like, healed. You know, just like
She's like,
you and
my
me,
childhood is healed.
saw the turtles, right, in the last movie,
Yes.
just kind of like have this nice happy ending. It was like,
Yeah, that's true. That does bring a very warm feeling of closure.
now you have Nightcrawler here. What's up with him?
Oh, because Magneto was able to wake up because of his prayers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And when Magneto wakes up, everybody kind of just goes like, "Oh yeah, we don't have to die now. No,
Pretty
we don't
much
have to
because they had
sacrifice
created they had devised this plan that was like, hey, FYI, we're making this really cool plan, but we all need to be in perfect synchrony, kind of like Chicago, to
Yes,
be able to get this through, and we're all gonna survive. We're all gonna make it. The plan was not gonna work. They were all gonna pretty much die. And so Magneto wakes up and it's like, I'm saving everybody, gravity,
Magneto's
polarity,
like,
magnetism.
hold my mother freaking drink. This
Hmm.
is what you guys are trying to do. There, done.
Yep. And then something happens. What it looks like an explosion is actually a teleportation of the entire group and place all over the world. So
All
what
over
happens
time.
all over time. And we skip forward to 6 months after the incident. They call it E Day. And the mansion is closed. And we have Forge kind of has a board of like, oh, missing in action, presume, you know,
Which is a
DAD.
callback. Is a callback to Days of Future Past. That's the cover where you
Ah.
have all these pictures with deceased, missing, unknown written across from it. It's very X-Men thing to do. Uh-huh.
And you see that he's still mourning for Aurora because they were in love. They were just two wild kids in love. And I think that's very, very sweet. And all of a sudden, Bishop, who had been missing for all this time, appears. And they're like, hey, for this upcoming season, we got to rescue the X-Men because they're lost in time.
And in the past, you see them fight and Sabanur,
Yeah. So we
who
have we got split into two groups, which
yep,
is Rogue, Beast, Magneto, Nightcrawler, and Professor X.
hmm
And they
which are
find
in the past, and they find En Sabanur, aka Apocalypse, the first mutant, right? And at this point in time, he's very much like a renegade. And so we're going to see the origin of Apocalypse, which is super, super, super exciting. And I really hope, fingers crossed, that we get an action figure of that for sure.
Ooh.
And then we also get that Cyclops and Jean are in the future, and they
Yes.
get to meet Cable, young
Yeah.
Cable.
They get to meet young Cable, so they get a chance to be parents to him, which is really sweet. So we'll see how that changes Cable's life, and then we also see that Apocalypse is also in the present. So while
Present,
these
yeah.
guys are in the past, we also have a present glimpse of Apocalypse in the leftovers of Genosha.
And who picks up, by the way, his voice is so good.
They picked a great
Oh, whoa,
voice
whoa.
actor. It's
Oh
like, oh
my
my
god, the
god.
voice is so good. Picks up the dirt. There's the card, the Remy's card, and he says death. And as you guys know, Apocalypse has to recruit four horsemen of the apocalypse: pestilence, death, famine, and what's the other one? Disease? I think so. Yeah. So they're all going to be there, and guess who's dead? Guess who's going to be dead? Guess who's going to be brought back? Gambit, remember him? He is going to be back. Now, a quick little not a spoiler because it's not, just like an insight, just insight
Okay.
to help you understand. Mother Ascani is a descendant, if not the Rachel Summers, the daughter of Cyclops
Oh, with
and
who?
Jean. Yes, so there she has all the little marks,
Uh
right?
huh.
And that's kind of like a thing for her. And she also appeared as a cameo in that future glimpse when she was just kind of like bending steel type of deal in the very utilitarian role, because she also has the power of like the Phoenix, but in a much lesser way until it manifests itself into like the big Phoenix type of deal. So she's
Ah.
also a vessel for the Phoenix, just like Jean is.
So wait. So that means that Cable was being raised by his sister?
Yes,
Oh, so he was always with family,
yes,
but he didn't know,
yes,
and she didn't know.
yes.
Why is it so complicated? He could have been happy.
It's the Saint Seiya story.
Why?
And then like the moment you had right now for Cable, right, is the moment that my wife had for Apocalypse. You're like, wait. Apocalypse in the past, this Apocalypse in the future. What? She was just like, she's like, oh my god, it's so cool. I'm like, yes, Apocalypse is super cool.
So that
Now,
means that the next season is going to be very confusing because we're going to be jumping from time to time. It's
oh
not going
yeah,
to be just multiple events happening at the same time, but they're also going to be having a different timeline.
yes, and there's gonna be so many more characters that I don't really know much about too, because I never read Age of Apocalypse all the way through. I know some characters here and there because of the toy line, but
Hmm.
I never read the story proper. So like I even have to do my homework for the next one. There's
All
a couple
right.
of things that I haven't really read. Now, I
The
do
good
want to
thing is that the comics are old, and then we
yes,
can find them.
readily available. You go
Yes.
to your public library, you're going to find a lot of those. You don't even need to buy them. Just check them out from the library, support your local library. Now, here's the deal. You're going to love this segue.
Okay.
From En Sabanur, Apocalypse is
Yes, dude, that's smart.
of Egyptian descent.
Hmm.
Boom. Four Horsemen releases the
Stop.
figura obscura of Anubis and Bastat.
Mhm.
Yeah, the god, the god dog, god cat. These are the brand new, ready for pre-order Four Horsemen
I love
box.
your plug. I love your plug. And by the way, Deepest Marcus, yes, I get you. That's where I'm at. So clones are confusing enough. Now we have broken timeline.
Yes.
What? I know. It's gonna be a mess. But these are really nice. So this is the issue I have with Four Horsemen, that they make beautiful figures. They take forever to produce, ship, and when they
No,
come,
these ones are ready. These ones are ready for shipping. These are if their figura obscura are buy now, buy now, ship tomorrow.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Needless to say, they also bring all these accessories.
I think you should get it. I am not buying from them again.
It's $120 for both, which is actually a pretty fair
That's a
price.
really good price for both because we literally bought one figure for that price in the past with
Yeah,
less
con-
accessories.
considering everything that they're bringing, I'm kind of mad that there's no like angry cat, like
Oh,
face. There's like all the same. You have
maybe.
Anubis kind of roaring here, like it's looking pretty crazy. I mean, in different type of different styles, right?
Yeah,
This
different
cat,
snout.
you do have the different style, which I think maybe to simulate like a statue, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's kind of like and I love the
I
fact
wonder
that
if the sculpting of the mouth is actually facing downward because Anubis has such a protruded snout that you can
yeah,
see it from that angle. Maybe she does have an open mouth. Uh,
or maybe he's
you
hinged.
just can't see it. Yeah, maybe might be hinged.
Yeah. But anyways, I will not be grabbing these. I think that I'm gonna take a
I
break.
think okay. What I'm saying is like you should because these are really great pieces. Mostly like if you ever want to do any like Indiana Jones style stuff.
Yep.
If
Oh,
you
and I
want to,
like that they bring alternative feet too. They have cat feet and they have or
people feet.
animal feet, and then they have human feet. That's cool. You know what? You
Mhm.
convinced me. I'm gonna go buy it right now.
You
Let's see if
should. You should.
are they sold out. Let's take a look. Because
Okay.
this thing sell out like hotcakes. Let's see. This is for Horseman Studios, Mythic Legions. Take a look at Figura Obscura. It is now all gone now.
It's gone. It's
Yes,
goodbye.
they are gone, sold out.
Oh, and yeah, it was a pretty good price. It was a really
But
good price.
do not worry, because at the same time, we all know how this works. We all know how Four Horsemen works. The first release is going to be very much um, a sellout process, but later on they will come back with the same figures, a different color, uh, just like
Maybe
every other
glow in the
figure.
dark. Yeah, maybe just glow in the dark and for like Halloweenish time.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and
Oh, Mike's left. We'll go ahead and finish up then. So thanks again for sticking around, everyone. So Mighty Mike's just kind of vanished. We'll give him a second to see if he'll return. But if not, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Let us know what events you are able to attend. And thank you for sticking around. We did go over our hour by like 22 minutes, but honestly, it had to be done. And this time, X Men has been fully covered. We're currently caught up. I know we said that last time, but it's 100% true this time. So we'll see you guys next time. Have a great weekend. And don't forget to follow, to subscribe, and like this video. And also follow us on Instagram. I'm Person Piggy. And here is Mighty Max Toys. Has a disembodied voice. There he is.
no, sorry. I went and I closed all the windows. There we go. So
I
the
was
one,
already calling it quits. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Before I'm glad to get back, because Battle Beast Redux will be here as our guest next week. Confirmed. I just literally got off the message board with him, so we will be talking Battle Beast Redux next week on Saturday. We have a guest,
And if you
guys.
guys have any questions for him, leave them here in the comments or DM them to us on Instagram so we can go ahead and ask him or just be here next Saturday. You can pop up questions for him. We'll be creating a list as well and we'll be preparing a pretty good interview because I do have a
And,
lot of
and
questions for
remember,
him.
remember the mission, everybody. The mission is to get at least one Battle Beast Redux in the next Beast Madness tournament in one way, shape, or form. Somehow we'll get it. We got to get it in there. Okay. But until then, guys, I will go ahead and see you next week.
Bye.